Hello everybody, what's up? It's your boy Mr. Bramz. How's everyone doing? We're here, we are back here on Fortnite once again, just to see how Fortnite really is. What has changed since we last played it, as we haven't played it for a while. And yes, I am speaking in plural simply because I'm here once again with my man Digital Mabarashi. How you doing?
Hello, Mr. Bramz. How are you?
No, not bad, not bad. I'm quite excited to be back here making, you know, YouTube videos. And of course, as Digital Mabarashi will explain in his video, he's doing something greater now. As of part of his YouTube channel, he wants to make it a lot better, more focused. And please do go and watch his videos, as you're gonna get a full understanding of what's happening on his channel. This whole new revamp. So make sure you go and check it out.
Yeah, vice versa. Do check out Mr. Bramz. Obviously, Mr. Bramz and I have done videos in the past together. If you haven't seen those, then go and give those a watch. But yeah, we're partners in crime. We are working together. What Mr. Bramz was alluding to was I've decided that I kind of wanted to do my channel more professionally than I was doing. So the Super Nintendo Entertainment Show, or the Super Nerd Entertainment Show, is going to be slightly more professional. Hopefully I'm going to have a schedule, I'm going to have proper programs, I'm going to have proper shows, and they're all going to be beautifully laid out and done. So this is a podcast kind of show, one of many that I hope to do with Mr. Bramz, if we can find the time together to talk about the industry of games.
Oh, trust me, I'm always ready to talk about games and industry, just anything to do with the whole sort of media industry I'm interested in. So yes, we'll definitely find some time and do more of this sort of format videos. So we're here on Fortnite today, so that's what we're gonna be focused on today. And since we haven't played it for a while, we're gonna see what really has changed in this game, shall we?
Yes. So first things first. When we loaded into Fortnite, my first impression, we went and played a game just to see some of the differences and what was happening before we started the podcast. You stood out quite massively in your default skin.
I did.
And we both kind of noted how when we first started playing this, people with skins stood out, and now the roles are reversed. Anyone who doesn't have a skin really stands out.
That's very true. That's very true. That's something that cannot be denied, because your sort of green and brown uniform just stands out. Like, it makes you, like, it gives you that sort of peer pressure, especially for younger audiences who are like, oh, my friends are doing it, I need to do it too, sort of thing. That I see how these sort of games can sort of make their money by sort of having this sort of peer pressure, because everyone is following the trend. Why are you not following it? Are you weird or something?
It's not for me. It wasn't even that. Like, I'm a middle-aged man, so it's kind of, it doesn't really affect me in the same peer pressure way, because I don't have friends that are gonna call me up and be like, hey, you're a loser, you've got no money, why aren't you buying stuff? But it's still, you still kind of feel like you're being left out.
That's
Still
very
kind
true.
of feel you're missing something, because everybody else has glowing stuff and shiny stuff and whatever else, and you're just running around in a dull green and brown outfit.
Yes, that's
My
very true.
outfit that I'm wearing currently on screen is a PlayStation exclusive free skin, which you can download from the store for free. So I haven't put any
Awesome.
money into the game still. I'm a free scumbag for sure. But yeah, you can go and grab that for free. So
Oh, that's something definitely I'll have to do later, because being in this sort of default skin, it's quite annoying. But more certainly, I will go and download that.
yeah, I mean, there's we were talking about, obviously the success of Fortnite, and there's an article on a website called The Verge. It's written by a guy named Nick Stat, and it says Epic Games Fortnite is making boatloads of money on in-app purchases, taking in $126 million in the month of February.
Oh my god, that is
So
a
a
staggering
free-to-play
amount.
game, yeah, a free-to-play game is now earning, roughly. I can't say $126 every month, but certainly for the month of February, that is what Epic turned in, which is astounding. It's a staggering amount
That is
um,
quite
of cash.
crazy, you know.
I
Considering
don't
that
think
it's
they
a
would have made
free-to-play
that.
game, you know. Of
Yeah,
course, they. I'm sure they don't mind that. I'm sure.
I don't think they would have made that sort of cash if this game was purchasable. Like if you had to pay £45 for this, or £35 for it, or whatever, I don't think they'd be making that sort of money off of sales,
Absolutely
because I
not.
just don't think people would buy it for that sort of money. Um, but you have to say that they're doing a very good job of releasing updates and new content and new material and new things
That's
for
very
players to do.
true. That's very true. Like, and as we spoke about, it's a great thing that they sort of creating this sort of uh, feel that they're giving you something new, although they're not. Like the rocket launcher, during the winter update, you was shooting out snowballs. During Halloween, you were shooting out pumpkins. We know all the weird noises and all that. And now for Easter, you'll be able to shoot out Easter eggs. I mean, same mechanics as you were saying. It's just like this sort of reskin makes it feel new, makes it refreshing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even like they've loaded in like a hunting rifle or a marksman rifle or whatever.
Yes,
They've loaded in um, sort of some other guns that I've seen I haven't really got to play with, but they've had loaded in a campfire, so you can regenerate your health and stuff like that. There's just loads of little drops of
oh
content that
yes,
I haven't paid
yes,
for. That's going in free to this game. I still haven't paid a penny for this, and yet I'm getting free content added. Whereas someone like PUBG, that's made millions of dollars off of sales, still aren't dropping anything into the game.
absolutely.
Really,
That's
even
really true. It's quite crazy the sort of consistency that they're doing it at. Like every sort of couple of weeks, there's something new coming out. For example, very soon there'll be a vending machine where you can trade in your materials for weapons and gears. I mean, that sounds crazy. I mean, the sort of ideas that they're pumping out to the game, it's quite crazy. And I hope they continue doing this because Fortnite is really pushing the boundaries for the sort of battle royale game style.
yeah, absolutely. I watched a video for Darwin. I can't think of the full title of the game. Um, and it very much leans on a lot of what Fortnite is doing. It's slightly different, and they're doing their own thing, and good luck to the guys making it. I don't know the studio behind it, but um, yeah, Fortnite are certainly forging a way for this kind of colourful, bouncy third-person battle royale game, and they are definitely the benchmark for battle royale games at the minute.
Absolutely,
I'm
that you
down.
couldn't have said it any better, to be honest. Um, do you personally think though that if Fortnite, or I should say Epic Games, didn't do this for free and left it inside the Fortnite game because the Fortnite game wasn't really well received, wasn't really well known. So do you think if they didn't make this its own like sort of standalone game, it would have done as well?
Not in a chance, not a hope in hell. Um, for me, when I saw Fortnite advertised and it was like a zombie shooter where you could build stairs and walls, I was kind of,
Exactly.
I was like, well, I don't really like the art style. It's a little bit kidsy. It doesn't interest me at all. Like it just didn't seem like a fun game. And then when like obviously PUBG went massive, and then Fortnite came off the back of that with a battle royale game, I was like, well, PUBG's like I think it was like 45, £55 to buy it, and this was
Yes.
free, and I was like, well, I kind of want to have a taste of battle royale, but I don't really want to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, why pay for a broken game broken game like PUBG when you can get a free game that's polished, almost finished, I'd say, um, like Fortnite for free.
Absolutely, you've nailed it. It's just absolutely what they're doing with the game. Seriously crazy. I don't think I've ever seen something like this before. I don't know if you can think of any examples of a game like coming back like Fortnite did. Like a game that nobody really knew, and now they put the sort of battle royale game mode in their game and make it, the best thing out there that everyone is jumping on. Even, stars, Drake and all of sort of pop stars that are coming out now playing these games is crazy. Like
Yeah,
it is getting attention from everywhere, literally
yeah.
from everywhere.
I was watching a soccer game kind of video, and the celebrations for scoring a goal. A number of the players were actually doing the dance moves from
Oh my god.
Fortnite. The actual, you can buy those dance moves to taunt people with and whatever. The
Yes.
footballers were actually doing those when they
That's
scored a goal. So it's crossed into all sorts of sports and all sorts of walks of life now. It's become pop culture.
no, that's very true. That's very true. But overall, I think Epic Games are doing something great here with new game modes to try. They're doing
Well,
something very good because they know that Fortnite, Battle Royale, it's Battle Royale. There's not much you can do, but they add in these sort of little game modes on the side that you can play if you wish, with your friends or by yourself. I think they also bring more longevity to this game because there's always something fresh to do, isn't it? What do you think?
yeah, I mean, for me, again, I'm going back to many, many years ago during the 80s and 90s, when Mario became Mario, Sonic became Sonic, they were pop culture crossovers. They were at sports events, they were advertising football games, they were advertising Pepsi, they were advertising
Oh yeah.
everything under the sun, and they'd really pushed themselves beyond computer games because computer games back in the 80s and 90s were for nerds. They were for kids with no lives, kind of idea. Um, and Fortnite hasn't quite got to that level just yet, but it's certainly the only game I can think of in recent history that has started to interest people outside of that sphere, footballers, musicians, whatever else. Like they've started to eke out into a much bigger audience now, and I think that's testament to exactly what you're saying. The fact that they're adding new little modes, they're adding new stuff to their game constantly, whereby even a free player like you and I, if you press square and go to the game modes, they've now got a sniper shootout mode.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's one of those things of that wasn't there previously. It's there now. They did that massive team battle, 50 versus 50, for a limited time. They keep the battle, like you say, the battle royale is battle royale. What can you do with it? But they've found things to do with it. They're found within the same engine, within the same game mode, game style, new stuff to do. And I
Absolutely.
think other developers of battle royale style games could really learn something from that and start trying to do more than just their core. All right, PUBG, you've made a 50, like 100 people in a server, they'll murder each other. You do it a few times, you get a few chicken dinners. What are you going to do after that? Like, it does need stuff added to it, and the bugs need fixing before everything
Oh, that's
else.
for
But
sure.
you just can't believe that a small contingent within Epic, 'cause it's not the whole of Epic Studio working on this, it's a small group of people in Epic Studio have put this together, and they're designing new stuff almost monthly.
Oh, that's absolutely crazy. Coming from a sort of gaming background, because both you and I both done courses, in games, what it takes to make games, modeling
Yeah,
them,
game
programming
development.
them. Yeah, games development as a whole. It's crazy what they've done here, because the game idea and design is not that difficult to, replicate in a sense. As long as you know what you're doing, I think this game can be easily done, and that's what they did. They had the skills. We're like, okay, well, battle royale game mode is going very popular. We're gonna do that with our own assets. From Fortnite, the unpopular game nobody really liked, and turned it into something so popular and out there. It's unbelievable.
I mean, it's a really good use of exactly what you're saying, old assets and stuff from a franchise, an IP that just wasn't going anywhere and just wasn't doing anything. I mean, again, to be a little bit nerdy as we do on my channel, the Unreal Engine, you can download the like a game maker. It comes with a lot of template stuff. It comes with a third-person character in it anyway. You can add a gun. You can have a third-person shooter within a matter of a few lines of code, pretty much.
Yes.
Then all you need to do is load in your assets and build your map. You've got half of a game. Not quite half a game, but you're there.
But the main
33% of the
structure,
game.
yeah, the main structure is there. The
And then
fundamentals.
all you've got to do, yeah, exactly. Then all you've got to do is add your networking and various other bits and pieces, which Epic and the engine help you do anyway. So, they've got an engine, they're a brilliant engine that you can do first person, third person, whatever you
VR,
want to do.
anything.
Yeah, mobile games, everything. And Fortnite has recently released a mobile version of itself.
Yeah, I was literally gonna about to mention that. Crazily enough, they were able to sort of port this game onto mobile. I mean, at the moment it's only available on iOS. Bit of a shame, but I'm sure it will soon come to Android too. But it's crazy. But then again, you think about it, and Fortnite is not sort of texture heavy, is not asset heavy, because everything looks fairly basic, but it has that sort of art style that they want. So it just works great on every machine you put it on. Really?
Yeah, I mean, you look at right now on our screens, the characters that are stood in front of us. You can see gene texture, you can see material texture, you can see skin texture. It's very cartoony, artistic style, but the models are still high poly. They look really nice. I mean, it's a really nice looking model, and a lot of time and effort obviously went into making those. But like you say, they probably are made in such a way that they are deconstructible, so that when they do the mobile version, it's not super heavy.
Exactly.
And obviously, like I say, the Epic engine that you can get for free, and to make your own games with, definitely allows you to convert your stuff to mobile. You have to do a little bit of tweaking and optimizing, obviously, but yeah, I mean, Epic, probably one of my favorite companies out there.
Yeah, very true.
Really and truly. The fact they offer you the Unreal Engine for nothing until you start making money with it. Like, you and I could make a free game as long as we don't make any cash. We never have to pay Epic a thing, and we can make something as good as Fortnite.
That's very true.
Because it's all there. It's literally all there. In my games course, I did a third-person kind of puzzle game, and it wasn't that difficult to do within their blueprint scripting. It's not difficult.
No.
So I can imagine, if you really know what you're doing with the engine, which I'm sure Epic do, I can only imagine Fortnite's going to go from strength to strength, really, in what they can offer you, what the game can do. And I wouldn't mind betting, the future for Fortnite will be for them to have new maps, new game modes, and other stuff.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's easily gonna come. I'm sure it will come. I've seen how quickly this game is developing. I'm sure stuff like that will happen. I just want to go quickly back to the part where you mentioned about mobile, simply because I don't know if you've seen, but PUBG is trying to sort of go neck and neck with Fortnite. Before it was more, before it was more like Fortnite trying to go neck and neck with PUBG, but now is the other way around, because now PUBG has also released their own version of mobile game, so they're trying, and sort of get everywhere like Fortnite is. But as you were saying, there are restrictions in PUBG. You'd have to do the same thing over and over again. You know, get your silencer, your reticle, your this, that, your magazine. It's a very tactical game. When this one, you just jump on, do whatever you want, play, with whoever you want, and then, move on with your day. When the other one is like very tactical, you have to think of what you want to do, think where you want to land. Here, you just do whatever. Nice and easy,
Yeah.
simple.
I mean, the games are a lot quicker. I mean, in PUBG you can go 45 minutes and then die in like 3 shots and then have to start again. In this, I don't think a game lasts 45 minutes. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy to get in and out of. So you get that little hit of, thrill to the kill, and you might get the odd win here and there.
Yeah.
Some people more than others, I guess, but it does allow you to have that little bit of fun without bogging you down with like 2 hours of gameplay. And I think that really works as a casual game, and therefore it converts over to mobile. PUBG, I can't. How long's a mobile game going to be? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yes.
have you got 6 hours to spend on your mobile? I don't know that you do.
Oh,
So
no, the battery wouldn't even last that long.
so it's kind of one of those things of how much do they have to cut out of their game, and then once they've cut that out of the game, is PUBG worth playing?
No, that's absolutely right.
But
But
I mean, there are some negatives to Fortnite, certainly. So I think we should probably discuss some of the things that are relatively annoying about Fortnite, as well as everything that's good about it. Just to be 100% fair on the situation.
no, absolutely. Before we go into that, I just wanted to ask you a question because we're in this sort of neck and neck sort of thing, and comparing the games. Do you think that a new sort of battle royale, game could actually, sort of outsmart these other companies like that have already been established, like playing an unknown battleground and Fortnite? Because there's the Mavericks. They want to produce this sort of game which provides an MMO with 400 player battle royale mode. Do you think that's gonna grasp the attention of people? 400 players battle royale mode.
I
We're talking here.
So it's kind of a two-part question. So I'll answer the first part first, which is,
Mhm.
do I think a game could surpass both of these titles? And yes, I do 100% believe that a title could surpass Fortnite and PUBG. Whether the 400 players is the key to unlocking that path, impossible to say. 400 players is quite a number of players, and
It's
would be a
quite a lot.
phenomenal achievement in terms of network latency lag. If they managed to get that many people in, it would be phenomenal just as a technical feat. But I don't know if that's the gimmick that gets everybody to forget Fortnite exists and forget PUBG exists and go and play it. It's certainly a selling point. It's a gimmick that will get them attention, but for me to go past these two, you have to do something
Above
different.
and beyond. Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to come up with a different idea, like Darwin kind of has. I really can't remember the full title of that game, and I apologise. But it's kind of gives you like a bow and arrow and an axe, and I kind of, there's no guns in it, there's no machine guns and whatever else, and it kind of makes it a little bit more primal,
Mhm.
which I think is a more interesting take on the idea. Because if you go back to Battle Royale, the film, kids were sent into a war zone with like a set of binoculars. One had a gun, one had a knife, one had whatever, and the tools they were given, they had to use. It
Mhm.
wasn't just all guns, it wasn't just all knives or whatever. So it might be interesting for a battle royale game to actually do that. Like literally, when you load in with a random piece of equipment.
Okay, that sounds really good.
So that you get a set of binoculars and you think to yourself, I'm going to get shot and killed. But if you can see further than everybody else, maybe you can avoid being shot.
Oh, so that
Maybe
different
you
sort
can
of
watch another
gameplay.
player. Yeah, maybe you can watch another player kill another player. Do you know what I mean? Like there could be other
Opens up
tactical
possibilities.
ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
totally get that.
So it's not about just loot hoarding anymore. It's about tactically thinking and tactically kind of playing a game that isn't just all about shooting. It could be about sneaking. It could be about hiding. It could be about whatever else. If you're given an axe, maybe you can chop down trees other people can't. Maybe if you're given a ladder, you can get to higher places than other people. Do you know what I mean? Like just allowing you to play the game differently depending on the piece of equipment you get. Stuff like that might, I can't, that's just something that came to me about battle royale games. But I think you could definitely do something that players would be interested in that would
That's
change how
perfect.
battle royale are kind of played currently.
Now, going back to what you wanted to talk about before is, we spoke about the positives. What about the negatives? So what were you gonna sort of
Um,
say?
there's a number of fields for this. So obviously it's free to play, and you do have the purchasable stuff. And as we did mention previously, that does kind of put a lot of pressure on people to kind of buy stuff. And I kind of fear that the success of Fortnite's microtransactions, as I say, $126 million in a month, might start a trend like Call of Duty did back in the day, where other games companies are like, this is how to make money. And then they start shoveling this stuff
Oh
in,
God.
whether you want it or not, whether you need it or not, and they just, because it's all about money for them. It's not about making a good game for the most part, or a game that people want to play. It's how can we monetize this? How can we
No,
monetize this? How
exactly.
can we
Yeah.
monetize this? And I get it. As we said, like we thought about making a game ourselves, and we had to come up with monetization ideas. You do.
Of
It's
course.
how you pay your bills. But I'm scared that this takes us more and more away from, as I said once before, Street Fighter. You fought the game on the hardest level like 5 times, and you got Ryu's extra outfit. I much prefer that concept to buying Ryu's extra outfit. I think as a player, I want to play. I don't want to buy. I'm not a consumer. I'm not a cash cow. I'm a player. I want to play games. So the battle pass idea on this is good. It does work for players, but the fact you have to buy a battle pass kind of again
Yeah, that's
takes
true.
away that element. And I know it's a free to play game and they're not making money any other way, but when you're making $126 million a month, roughly, I haven't looked at all the figures. Do you really need to make any more, or how much more do you need to make? How much more do you want to make? Like, why do you need to make that sort of cash? Really, the amount of time they've put into making this game, they've already paid all the wages of the people that made it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Oh,
So you can't. There's no argument for, well, I need to pay people's wages. They've paid them. They've paid them for the next 10 years. Like, there's no need for them to earn money to pay wages anymore. There just isn't. The game made its
absolutely.
money back.
No,
Uh,
I would say it's made more than its money back. That's for sure. Especially if they're going at a rate of 126 million a month. That's astonishing. That's amazing. That's crazy. What games can
mm,
do nowadays is crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's getting on the level of Call of Duty money, isn't it? Really.
Oh,
Not
it is
quite, because they were in
indeed.
the millions, but um, I just, it worries me for the future of gaming, where generations below me are kind of used to now just buying stuff instead of earning it, and they're kind of just used to spending cash as opposed to time. And in the end, you kind of feel that the gaming industry and gaming as a whole is lost. It's no longer about completing a game by playing it. It's completing a game by buying the end. Like, at what point will you just spend money to see the game? It'll be an animation soon. You won't even have a
Oh God.
controller. You'll just have a credit card and an animation. Like,
Um,
you just
believe it or not, there are games that are going towards that field. There are games like um, Hidden Agenda, which is pretty much an animation that you pay £25 for, I think, if I'm not mistaken. and it's just a long, animation, and all you have to do is just like some button pressing every now and then, in panic, mode. But other than that, it's just a long animation, and that's it. So hopefully, and I mean hopefully, games don't go towards there, because yes, I mean I enjoy playing games, and as I said, I could stay until like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning up playing games. And because I'll have that goal in mind, saying, okay, you know what, I need to play another 15 games or rounds of whatever I'm playing, because I'll be able to unlock this weapon, this costume, this thing. They give you something to aim for. Right now, like, okay, purchase this in order to get your stuff. It doesn't work for me, and I don't really like it. So hopefully, they'll move away from this sort of pay to sort of get method.
Okay, let me ask you a genuine question of, do you still purchase stuff in games even though you feel that way?
Okay, saying that, depending on the game, I might or I might not do. For example, Fortnite, I did not spend a penny. I don't know if I will, for now, but no, for now I don't need to, because the game is essentially the same. So no, but for example, Call of Duty, it was a game that I played day in and day out. When there was some decent Call of Duties out, and yes, I would get bored of camos and this and that. I would buy the season pass, religiously. That would be, yes, season pass. I need some maps to sort of get some refreshments, because it will get boring playing the same maps, standard maps, for the year. So season pass was a must, or is a must, depending. But yeah, I do sometimes feel trapped in a way to purchase stuff to sort of get more enjoyment out of it, which is really sad, because that's not how I want to play games. I want to play games, I'm playing games, you tell me to play like a game 10 hours straight, I'll do it, as long as I get what I need to get from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, as we were saying before, you don't like fantasy games, so you wouldn't play them for more than a minute, but you get like a good sci-fi or a good football game, you can sit and play it for hours. Obviously, you get something out of that psychologically and
Exactly.
mentally. It's the achievement of winning a game, or because it's a field you're interested in, like you like watching football on TV, therefore playing soccer on a computer game makes perfect sense. You're just extending your enjoyment of that sport in another medium. So 100% I get it, but what interests me on a psychological level is I used to do blogs and I used to talk to people online,
Hmm.
and we'd have this conversation about microtransactions and DLC and stuff, and people were like, but that's the way it is. And I was like, but do you not understand that if you stop buying it, they stop making it, because it doesn't make them any money? Like, they're only doing, people are spending cash. People were complaining to me that they hated the way DLC worked, but then went and bought DLC. It's like, do you not see you're part of the problem? And this is my theory, is that gamers don't realise that they're creating the world they hate. Like, a lot of
Okay,
people...
I totally understand what you're trying to say there. Sorry for stopping you,
No,
but
just go for
I
it.
I totally understand what you're saying. Is like, yes, yes, they're giving you this option. Okay, if you don't take that option, they'll have no option, so they would have to do something else. They have to think of something else to do. So I totally agree with what you're saying, but let's say there's 10 of us who don't agree with this, but then the other 15 million still do it. They're not gonna care about the 10 people. That they're like, oh, they're not gonna buy it. We don't care because the other 15 million will. Do you know
No,
what I mean? So it
right.
needs to be a mass sort of thing.
No, I agree, but the problem is that it's then a culture thing. It's then a way of thinking. Like, people always sort of like said, you know, for bad things to happen, it only takes one man to not do anything. Like the Second World War and stuff like that. Real history, real life, where one individual has stood up, and then other individuals have gone, oh, that guy's standing up, I'll stand with him. And then by the time we're finished, everybody's standing up. Do you know what I mean? Like, one man can make a difference.
That's very
And
true,
that's the
though.
thing. If you stopped buying stuff, and your friends were like, oh, blah blah, and you explained it to them saying, look, I'm not buying stuff. You shouldn't buy stuff. Maybe you'll get one of your other friends to go, do you know what? You're right. And then they stop buying stuff, and then your other friends are like, well, if you're not buying stuff, I'm not buying stuff. And in the end, your small sphere of influence has stopped buying DLC, and therefore you don't feel pressurized into buying it because all your friends don't have it. And then they might be able to push on to their friends and blah blah blah, and it could just spread as much as buying did. People only buy now because it's spread like wildfire, as you said, in this game. You had 1-2 people with skins. Now everybody's got skins. It's just spread.
Yes.
It's become a fad. It's become something you have to do. People feel they have to buy in-game content now. But you look at PUBG, the market's fallen out of their microtransactions massively. Like the prices of you used to be able to buy a set of shoes for like $100 or something stupid. Now you can pick them up for like 50 cents. It's just
oh yes, it's crazy.
Really, it's just, and that's what I don't think people understand is this is all digital. This is all make believe. It's pixels. It's gone tomorrow. If Fortnite shut down their servers, that's all your money gone. That's all your
God,
gone. Like if they just suddenly go, I'm sorry, but we're not doing Fortnite anymore. It's
can I just say, like they did with Paragon, you know, they did do this with Paragon, which is another of their titles. They shut down that game as soon as they saw that Fortnite was picking up some ground. They shut down that game completely, and they're giving out all the assets for free on the Unreal Epic store. It's crazy what they did. So many players were putting a lot of time into that game. So many people were enjoying that game. But because they saw the massive gap and difference, you know, between Fortnite and Paragon, they're like, nope, we're shutting this game down. We're focusing on Fortnite. Absolutely crazy.
Because again, it's the almighty dollar, isn't it? It's Paragon's making, say, $100 a month. I don't know what it was bringing in, versus 146 million or whatever, 126 million dollars. And you just think, well, why would you want all your artists and your developers and your coders working on a game that's making nothing? Comparatively anyway, when you could use those artists to make more assets. And now Fortnite could probably drop 10 more things a month instead of just 5. You know what I mean? Like double their output.
Yeah.
And keep people's interest in this going, because really once you've got people, it's harder to lose them than attract them in the first place.
No, absolutely.
They've got their audience now, so now they just have to keep them. And you know, they're fair play to them. You know, they do what they got to do. But I fear for the future of gaming quite massively with DLC and microtransactions and whatever else. But and I don't want this kind of podcast to go on too much longer. But I also don't like the jumping up and down and that kind of play style. I know this is a little bit more cartoony and a little bit more exaggerated than other games. But as a game player, I find the bunny hop shotgun.
Oh, that's so annoying. That is so annoying. Oh God, that's probably one of the worst things you could possibly find is a person who jumps and a shotgun in his hand. God.
Yeah. Just there's no. I mean, I watched someone else play this on YouTube. And I was actually in tears of laughter because these two guys were just jumping up and down in front of each other, shooting and missing each other. And they had to go away and reload and come back and start jumping up and down and shooting each other because they both had the same tactic.
Oh my God.
They were just jumping up and down shooting, and it went on for so long. And I was just like, how is this fun? How is this? There's no tactic to this. There's no interest in this. There's you're just jumping up and down pressing the shoot button. I mean, like, God, like I don't know, man. For me, I kind of like my old Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty 4 was my favourite.
Oh yes.
Tactical. Do you know what I mean? Like you got a sniper rifle out and you sniped people. In this, I kind of feel the sniper rifle is useless. I hardly ever use a sniper rifle in Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
It's mostly pointless because you'll end up with some dude run up on you with a shotgun and just dump you. It's just, I don't know, like, and the fact that the structures, you build this massive structure, but one rocket at the bottom brings you to the floor, and the fall damage kills you. So you can't even build a sniper tower. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't even protect yourself really against stuff like that. You can build it out of brick, and they can still take you out. And I find that limiting, in that it doesn't take 3 or 4 rockets to take out, because the materials almost make little difference. Build it out of wood, build it out of brick, build it out of metal. Doesn't seem, I haven't tested it, but it doesn't seem to really make that much difference in time. You play a squad game where 4 people are firing at a wall, brick will probably be gone almost as quickly as wood.
Oh yes, it will.
So what's the point in having the different materials, apart from it looking different? It doesn't, like, if brick actually lasted 2 or 3 rockets, it might be worth sticking up, because then you could build a tower out of brick and actually snipe out of it, because then you'd have a little bit more time if they start throwing grenades and rockets and stuff to descend. But like, I don't know, I find that quite limiting. Like, the construction side of things is really good, but I don't understand the point of the material difference and the other gun types beyond shotgun, because it's a little bit shotgun heavy, this game, really, for me.
Oh yes, it is. I mean, that's why when you find a shotgun, you're like, oh yes, I'm sorted for the game. But yeah, I totally agree with what you said all along.
Yeah. So really, there's probably many other things we could talk about during this podcast. But it may have to wait for another, because I feel like this one has probably served its purpose.
Yes, and this was more like the first one, you know, the trial. You know, we're gonna be uploading this for you guys. Let us know what you think of this. Do you like this style? What you want to see? Perhaps, you know, in the comments, leave some suggestions on future podcasts if there's something specific you guys would like to watch. You know, feel free to ask us questions. We'll answer them in this sort of podcast style, because, you know, anything that is gaming related and that we can sort of talk about, please bring it on. We'll be happy to talk about it more.
Yeah. For the future, like I say, I'm hoping to do like an actual schedule and whatever else, and hopefully Mr. Bramz can be around, so we can do a Mr. Bramz Monday session. So hopefully going forward we can have regular, if not every Monday, but certainly regular Monday slots where Mr. Bramz and I talk about the industry, games that are happening, games that aren't happening, kind of things we've played, games we've experienced, and whatever else. I mean, obviously back end, as I say, curtain back, we have both done a game development degree course, and we've kind of touched on Unreal and C++ and various other bits and pieces, and we both love gaming.
Absolutely.
I think it's fair to say that I've sunk a large chunk of my life in, from about 1985 to today, into gaming. I've seen a lot of differences, a lot of changes in gaming, and I've played virtually every console there has been. So hopefully we can bring a lot of knowledge and a lot of information to you. So if you, like Mr. Bramz says, if you want to hear about anything, talk about anything, if you want us to discuss a certain subject, or there's a bugbear you have with Fortnite, or there's something you love about Fortnite, drop it in the comments for us. So
Absolutely.
we can see.
Well, other than that, thank you very much, Maboroshi, for having me today.
Yeah, no.
And we shall see you in the next one.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.